Hey everybody, let me make sure I got my audio and everything set up right here. Um, so what is Order 77? Order 77, so obviously 1977 is when Star Wars came out. It's a working title right now for what I want to call this show. It's going to be a Star Wars discussion show. And what I want to do with this is I want to talk about people's experience with Star Wars, what it means to them, in a lot of ways where they came on board, whether it was with the original trilogy, prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, or like one of the animated series, and kind of get a lowdown with people on what Star Wars is to them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be, and I'm not sure if I'll get anybody on today, is I will be doing I'll be using the PS4 uh, to bring people's audio into the show so I could talk to them and have discussions. I don't want to mess with Zoom right now. I don't think that's really important. I think the audio is what's important, anyways. And we'll kind of get things going from there and have interviews when we get the opportunity to do so. Let's see. Let's see. Where are we at? Let's look at chat here real quick. I'll let the Mandalorian talk begin. We will get to that here in just a second. Uh, of course, I have some theories on that hooded figure in a Mando trailer. And I'm doing very well. Bailout? Was that you, Mr. Gaming? I can't remember who it is again. But before we get into that, I just want to kind of do a quick rundown on my history of Star Wars, which is with my age, I remember seeing Return of the Jedi in the theater in 1983. Very little memory of that, but I do remember that. And from there, I just became a huge Star Wars fan. I remember being in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Some friends of mine had moved there, and I was visiting, and we were at somebody's house, and they were watching the original trilogy, and I remember just the awe of it, seeing it again. And this would have been back in what 98, 97, somewhere in there. And then to find out later that we were going to be getting a couple years later that we were going to be getting a prequel trilogy dealing with Anakin Skywalker was amazing. Hey, what's up, Gerard? You should get on PlayStation and have a conversation with me. I'm doing kind of a talk show type thing here. So if anybody out there is on PlayStation and would like to get on audio for just a second, just to ask questions, I will be doing that. So it's going to be kind of like an interview show, taking questions either through chat or through audio. Once again, my rule is I don't do long form audio with anybody that I don't know. So there won't be a lot of TED Talk. Not quite. My name's not Ted. At least not yet. I haven't got that changed yet. Um, but from there's where I really grew to fall in love with Star Wars again was through the books, from New Jedi Order all the way through. I think it was Legacy of the Jedi, and then when that became decanonized, I was a little bit worried about it because I love those stories, and obviously the sequel trilogy hasn't been as good, but where I like what gave me another jolt of energy was the Clone Wars. I watched the movie in the theater, was okay with it or whatever. Then I started watching the actual series, and Ahsoka became one of my favorite characters of all time. So, and then through Rebels, which I think is fantastic. I wish I had played PS Plus. You will someday bail out, get that. Oh, hold on just a second here. But Resistance obviously is a tough watch. I will eventually get through that, but I pretty much watched everything else that has ever been made for Star Wars. Want to learn more about the Old Republic? I do too. The thing is, I just don't want them to go there yet. I think eventually, I think it'd be better off having little bits of information dropped in some of the other stuff, especially the High Republic. and then get to learn some legend of that, and then go back and find out a little bit more um, about it. Clone Wars got you into Star Wars. Nice. That's awesome. You know what? It's a great starting point for a lot of people. I know a lot of people my age, or people that were OT fans, the original trilogy. A lot of them really struggled to. They can't get into the cartoon thing, and I understand why they feel that way. They're not they just don't want to watch an animated TV series. What they don't realize is that it's not a kid show. I mean, it is, but it isn't. There's deaths that happen in the Clone Wars that actually stick and are meaningful. Uh, let's see. I'm not going to be able to keep a complete eye on the chat. I will try to pick a little bit here and there. But let's get into the trailer. Hold on just a second. I'm going to look at something real quick. So the Mandalorian trailer, I thought was great. I think it showed just enough. I'll be honest with you. I kind of wanted just a little bit more. That wasn't going to happen. This is the thing. I wanted to be able to see some of the characters that are rumored, just so I could stop being anxious about it and worrying about them not being in it. So I think there's part of me that just wanted to see one of them, just even one of them would make me feel better about it. We did not get that at all. The closest we got, and we'll talk about that real quick, is potentially Sabine. Even though I think there's a chance Sasha Banks is playing a Jedi that we haven't met yet, which I guess I'm okay with. I would prefer that it's Sabine or somebody that we already know. It seems like every time we start something new, whether it's a game or a TV series, there's another Jedi out there, and which makes sense because there were 10,000 Jedi before Order 66. And even if 1% survived, you're still talking about 100. So it's very possible there's some more Jedi out there. Uh, and I'll go back through. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go through this, and then if you guys want to put some stuff into comments, asking questions, then I'll get back through those. So I don't know if I'll get all the way back through the chat. So it's possible that Sasha Banks has just played some random Jedi that survived. More than likely, looking at her age, she would have been a Padawan or maybe even a youngling when Order 66 happened, or could be somebody that a Jedi that survived Order 66 trained. She could also be a dark side user, not a Sith, because there's no Sith around at this point, and I don't want them to have there be Sith randomly running around. But a dark side Force user would be kind of cool to see in that, and especially if this Force user is trying to get to Baby Yoda because she understands how powerful he could be and wants to use him for nefarious reasons. Other options is that she's just some random Mandalorian working for Bo-Katan as they're trying to hunt down the Darksaber, or trying to keep tabs on some of the other Mandalorians that are running around, and kind of maybe even trying to get all Mandalore back together. So there's a lot of different options. The one we want to go with right now is the fact that, or the rumor, speculation. It's not rumor. There's no rumor out there. The speculation that she is in fact Sabine Wren, and that she's either with Ahsoka, and she realizes that Din Djarin is trying to find Ahsoka, so she's kind of going out there and spying on the Mando to figure out who the heck he is and what's going on, or maybe she realizes that her rumors about the Darksaber and is trying to track it down, and that leads her to Din Djarin, or even the fact that somebody out there saw Baby Yoda do some wavy hand stuff, wavy hand magic, and it gets back to Ahsoka, and she sends Sabine out there to find this Baby Yoda, this child, this, especially with it being green with pointy ears and of Yoda's species, that would really pique the interest of Ahsoka, I think. So those are some of the things. I'm going to look through chat just a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, the Clone Wars doesn't really seem child friendly. I'll tell you what though, there are a lot of episodes that you could most definitely show children. I think that if they're under like 6 years old, well, if they're under 8 years old, maybe there's a few episodes that you just kind of some droid type episodes or lightsaber lost. Some of the other ones I think you could show a kid and they'll be just fine. In fact, I would say majority of them, not too many of them have real deaths in them, especially not characters that you get to know and have an emotional stake in. Favorite clone is Captain Rex. You know, this is one thing. Hey, Josh, are you at home or are you at school right now? But so I have a confession to make. The first time I watched the Clone Wars straight through, I really didn't pay that close attention to the actual clones. I didn't really pay attention to, the differences in them. And I know that sounds bad because that's one of the greatest parts of the Clone Wars is that they're seen as real people. But it wasn't until watching Rebels and truly, truly, truly understanding the difference or how close Rex was with Ahsoka that when I went back and rewatched the Clone Wars, I really paid attention to that relationship. And it's absolutely amazing what they did with Captain Rex. Hey, what's up, Sean? I'm at home right now. Hey, are you on the PlayStation? Let's get you on the audio. We'll talk some Star Wars. Uh, I accidentally downloaded Matrix onto your PC. There's nothing wrong with that. Matrix is a great, great movie. Ahsoka's point of view in Order 66 was heartbreaking because poor Rex didn't want to kill his friend, but Chip made him do it. And that's another thing. That shows how powerful that chip was. So any clones that were able to avoid or I would say uh, resist Order 66 even for a second means that they had a really, really, really strong connection to their Jedi. Was that Bubba's armor in the trailer? Man, it was on the desert planet on a speeder. If you look close, it looks like Boba. It's possible. I didn't see that. I'll have to look for pictures later on that. Yeah, the brainworms in Second Metal Geonosis. So that was a little bit creepy. And here's a question, though. Is it possible that the brainworms actually affected Bear's Offie's mental state and could have made her a little bit cuckoo and more susceptible to falling to the dark side? Hard to do Boba Fett and Captain Rex at the same time. Maybe a little bit because you got to realize. So the guy that Tamara Morrison is about 60 years old. Boba Fett would be about 40, and Captain Rex, because of accelerated aging, would be about 80. So they'd have to de-age him just a little bit, and I don't even think they'd have to de-age him much, because I'm sure that Boba Fett would have a harsh life. So maybe he'd even look closer to the 60 years old. And then they're going to have to age him for Captain Rex. It depends on how good of an actor Tamora Morrison is. Is he going to be able to play two characters? I don't know the answer to that. Uh, yeah, Rebels and Clone Wars did a really good job of explaining Mandalorian lore. I really hope they dig into that. I hope we find out why uh, the Mando and some of those, I would say, a offshoot of Death Watch that they would be. Uh, I'm trying to figure out why they keep their helmets on, because that's we've seen even was it not Tar Vizsla but Pre Vizsla, who was the leader of Death Watch before. He definitely took his helmet off in front of other people. So it wasn't a rule for all of them, or it wasn't a rule back then, and maybe it became a rule. I hope we figure out why. Do I think there's Mandalorians in the sequel trilogy? Yeah, that time period, there's definitely. I don't think the Mandalorians are going to completely go away. Want to go, Carl? Really, the name I'm going to go for this talk show, but an idea I have. But 1977 is when Star Wars came out, so the thought process is Order 77 instead of Order 66. We'll see if it sticks. I'm going to come up with a few ideas. So in later episodes of this kind of talk show, I will give some options and I'll let you guys kind of vote on which one to take. That voting, though, will happen on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Darth Lizard Plays. I'm also going to be working on trying to decide a specific branding that I'm going to do, whether that's the Darth Lizard branding, the Long Live Geek branding, or just my name. I haven't decided on that. And then I'm going to get everything cohesive as far as between Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, just having one name that I'm going off of. I think we'll get an open world Star Wars game soon. Here's the thing: is EA said they're going to be doubling down on Star Wars games, so it's very possible that we get several different kinds of games at once. So an open world game, why not? I would say that if they did that, would it be a free one? Would it be a freemium? I'm wondering. World of Warcraft, that type of thing where, yes, you get it for free, but if you really want to dig deep into it, you have to pay. It's possible. Let's see. I caught up on chat. Anything else you guys want to talk about when it comes to Star Wars? So a couple things that I really want to see in, we'll call it the Filoniverse because people are calling it that, and that is this time period after Return of the Jedi when they're going to be having, I think, a bunch of shows that are all going to interrelate. I really want to see more about the Mandalorians in whole. I want to see the New Republic in its early stages. I want to see more remnants of the Empire. I want to see a little bit of the beginning of the First Order. I want to see a lot of that and all that interact with each other. All those shows kind of come together like the MCU, but the Filoniverse. I just want to see Battlefront 3. That's all I'm asking. I do too. Other than like when I'm playing HVV with other people and I'm mic'd up, I'm getting bored of Battlefront 2 right now. And I hate to say it, I've tried. It's hard for me to play more than an hour and a half or so, unless if I'm mic'd up in some good games. They could revive. That's another thing. If they revive Battlefront 2, they add new characters. They get matchmaking, allow for parties and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden that changes the entire thing. You could actually end up with HVB like leagues and stuff like that if they did something like that. Do I have any Star Wars props, helmets, lightsabers, or stuff like that? I do not. I've got a couple cool like bigger action figures. I got my Darth Maul one, a couple Darth Vader ones. I am gonna start getting. I think I want to start doing the trading cards. I'm gonna start ordering some of those and doing some like live opening of the packs. See what I get. I think he survives. I think his armor helped him survive. I think his armor, he probably was able to use his jetpack a little bit down there. Probably killed the Sarlacc, I'm guessing from the inside out. I think Dengar helped him. You know what? Gosh, do you really think those bounty hunters cared about each other enough to risk their lives? I just don't know. Unless we owed him something. And you know, I don't know. Going back to you, Carl, I don't know that I have a lot of interest in doing like the really expensive lightsabers or anything like that. Maybe eventually, if the page or if the brand gets big enough to where I can afford to do that without using money from my real job. I hate to say real job, but that's what it is. It pays the bills. Was Bosk alive during the sequels? Let's look up. I wonder how long Trandoshans live. Ocean lifespan. Let's see if we get an answer. Oh, those living past 50 were considered old. And 60 was, I mean, you're lucky to get to 60. So, Oh, let's see here. I would say Bosk is probably dead by the sequels. That doesn't mean he is. I mean, come on, they've got all this medical advancements. I'm sure that a wealthy bounty hunter can find ways of to continue living. But so, did you hear that the agent for Tamir Morrison actually put on he took it off pretty quickly, but under Tamir Morrison's actual resume, it shows 2020 Boba Fett post production. So that pretty much confirmed that he is actually going to be in season 2. Here's the thing, though. Okay, the reason why I disagree with you, Mandalorian Martin, is that there's more money to be made in creating a Battlefront 3 because they can resell it. And the only way they're going to make more money in reviving Battlefront 2 is to figure out a way to get us to spend more money. And I think that, and that's possible. Don't get me wrong, the framework's already there. But if we have to pay for characters, that becomes pay to win. So they're not going to go that route. They would have to come up with a bunch of new skins and have those be money only. Or even have it so that you can have private matches, but have it be $5 a month or whatever. Which I'll be honest with you, if they had private matches and it was like $5 a month, I'd probably be down. I'd probably pay that. Let's see. Favorite character in Star Wars? Man, it used to be Anakin for sure. It's probably whew, Anakin or Ahsoka, uh, Vader, and that's a really tough question. Add Cara Dune. So Cara Dune, if they add her to Battlefront 2, she would be in the original trilogy era. So she'd be a blaster hero. Probably a blaster hero with really good melee abilities. And I'm trying to think of who would be her counter on the other side. Can you think of a counter for her on the dark side? They got so much crap for doing pay to win. They can't do that, I don't think. But yeah, but would you have Mando on the other side? No, Mando and Cara Dune would have to be on the same side. So either you make Cara Dune a on the bad side, which I don't see. Yeah, I just don't see that. I'm trying to think of somebody. So it would have to be a blaster on the other side. Moff Gideon, maybe. I mean, if you had Cara Dune, but I would think that Moff Gideon might be the counter to Mando because they're not going to do Cara Dune and not do Mando. And if they do Mando, it better not be a clone of Boba Fett. And I don't think it would be a clone of Boba Fett. I think it would be. First of all, I don't think Mando would get a jetpack. Even though he's going to learn how to use a jetpack, I think that would make him too close. I agree. Moff Gideon would be good. Baby Yoda, having him in the in his little carrier or his little gosh, what do you call it? Floating stroller would be really cool. I know there's some mods out there that show that, but they use BB-8's kit, and I don't think he'd have the force lightning that they kind of show. That would, if they revived Battlefront 2, they would for sure add Ahsoka and Ventress. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think if Battlefront 3 got announced, I think the first trailer for Battlefront 3 would have those two characters. Jyn Erso and Director Krennic for Scarif. That's the other problem too. There are so many blaster heroes and villains for the OT. I honestly think you'd have to you would have to add more eras, or really. Hold on a second. I'm going to get Josh invited in here. I think you'd have to add a bunch of different characters to other eras too to make it even. So who would we add to the prequel era? Who would we add to the sequel era? Sequel era would be the toughest part. I mean, you'd have to get into Resistance, I think, to add enough of those. Hello. All right, so we got Josh here. So we're talking. Let's talk some Battlefront 2 and 3. As far as potential, like who. First of all, who could they add to the prequel era for Battlefront 2 if they were to revive it? Yep. Oh, who would be the counter to Cad Bane on the light side? I'm trying. So it would have to be a blaster hero on the light side. That's a that's a great call. I think if you added Rex to the game, he would not be reinforcement. He would absolutely be. I think what would be cool is if they had the Bad Batch be like reinforcements, but only on certain maps. So you'd have the 4 different kinds of reinforcements with that. That would be kind of cool. Will they do a story of that the broom boy from the Last Jedi? I think with all the crap that Ryan Johnson took, I don't think they're going to get into that at all. Yeah, it was one of no, because J.J. Abrams and Ryan Johnson, I don't think ever had a conversation together in their lives. Plus, neither one of them ever watched a Star Wars movie, and I'm pretty convinced. Bo-Katan and Pre Vizsla in the game. So Bo-Katan could be in 2 different, the prequel and original trilogy. But man, we've already got too many people in the OT. So prequel era. You could, you know what? I hate to say it because they were on the same team for a while, but you could put Bo-Katan and Pre Vizsla on opposite sides in the prequel era. They they could both be. Let's see, because yeah, they could both be jet troopers and have just different, make them different than what Boba Fett is. But yeah, I agree. Cad Bane counter for Captain Rex. So what was your initial introduction into Star Wars? What era did he start with? Original trilogy, cool. Yeah, I think for the younger generation, getting introduced with the OT is probably not very common. I think a lot of them probably got introduced with the prequels or even sequel era. Uh, that's kind of cool. I mean, you know what? That's a good bonding thing for parents. I mean, my daughter's not into that type of stuff, so I don't get to share those things. But I'm with my nephew. I'm trying to get him into those types of the geeky type stuff. Jedi Temple guards, they would definitely have to be reinforcements. They would not be. Uh, yeah, yeah. Though they could be pretty badass, and then you could have on the other side, you could have maybe the guards from Grievous's personal guards. They're pretty badass. Jawa hunt mode. I think if you were to do that, it would have to be just a different. It would have to be the exact same rules and everything as Ewok hunt, probably, but on different planet, and then have it be Jawas instead of Ewoks. Mm. Yeah, no, where you're the younglings and you have to try to survive like a day. Try to get out of. Do you have to try to get out of the Jedi Temple? That would be pretty awesome. And And if you die in that as a youngling, then you turn into what a 501st member. Mandalorian mode? I don't like. What the heck would what would that be though? I would say a bounty hunter mode might be kind of cool, where you have a certain bounty you have to get, maybe you and a party of or it could be even a competition between you and other bounty hunters, and whichever one of you gets the bounty wins the competition. I'm not sure exactly how you do stuff like that. What's your favorite Star Wars movie? Yeah, I think they did such a good job of, especially in the second half of that, just with the action, the emotion. Like, I felt like the emotion coming out of Anakin in the once he turned to the dark side was so good and so well played versus some of the corny stuff in between him and Padme. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's not a bad actor. I mean, some of the corny lines that George Lucas wrote for him in episode 2 and 3, though, especially when he was talking to Padme, were just cringeworthy. I mean, you got I hate sand, which is I think that's why they put Luke back onto Tatooine when he was younger because they're pretty sure that Anakin wouldn't try to come around him. What are your thoughts on the Obi Wan series? What do you think it's going to be about? Hill, did I lose you? What? Hello, hello. Did I lose him? I might have lost him. So my thought on the Obi Wan series is that I'm hoping that it shows kind of the dark parts of Obi Wan's life after dealing with losing his brother, basically with Anakin going to the dark side. I really think that Obi Wan's going to be in a dark place. I, I I think it's going to be how we get to the version of Obi Wan that was in Star Wars Rebels, and when he went up against Darth Maul, because he was in such a good place. He was in such a a state of zen, um, and at peace. It seems like. So I think the Obi Wan series is really going to be about that. I think it's gonna. I think he's going to start with um, feeling guilt, feeling anger, basically bordering on the dark side, and then through that series, he's going to find peace again. And it would, man, I would love for them to do a recreation of that fight scene with Maul in live action. I mean, I'm talking frame by frame, no changes at all between the conversation and between the actual fight choreography. Just have it be the exact same thing, but in live action, I think would be just absolutely amazing. But for them to do that, they couldn't just randomly have Maul show up. There would have to be some flashbacks to Maul. They would have to show Obi Wan being angry at Maul in the series, and to show him then become compassionate towards Maul at the end, to show contrast in that. And if it's true that it's only going to be one season, it's going to be a limited series of only like 6 episodes. I don't think that there's enough time to get into that, so I don't really think it's going to be that way. Did we lose you, Josh? I think we lost Josh. That's okay. Oh, oh, gotcha. Oh, it is all good in the hood. It doesn't make sense for Luke to be in the Mandalorian. I think mentioning him does. Like even it. One thing is, I don't want somehow for Ahsoka to meet Luke in The Mandalorian. If that happens, I want that to be in her series. I think that could be just an absolutely amazing scene. Uh, do I think Sabine Wren would get her own live action series? I don't think Sabine Wren will get her own live action series. I think the star of that where she's at in life at that point, I think is still with Ahsoka trying to find Ezra, and I think the star of that is Ahsoka. So I don't think Sabine. I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, Sabine as a character, with the right writers, I think could carry a series for sure. I mean, any character could carry a series with the right writers and people involved and the right actor. This is the thing is nobody knows if Sasha Banks can actually act. So if she's not a great actress, maybe it's best that she's not playing Sabine if she isn't. So who knows? Uh, but are you looking forward to the Obi-Wan series? Oh, cool. Do you like both? Or I would say all three iterations of him. The Alex Guinness, Ewan McGregor, and then yeah, James Arnold Taylor that does his voices. If you've ever watched any of his stuff on YouTube, he's a nice guy, really cool, really energetic. He does a lot of YouTube shows that are pretty awesome. He interviews his co-stars from Clone Wars. Does a really good job of that. Could we see Pre Vizsla show up in? Uh, I would assume you're asking if we could see him in flashbacks in Mandalorian. I mean, well, who played? You know who played? Did the voice for Pre Vizsla? John Favreau. Yeah. So honestly, I could see John Favreau doing a flashback scene, and then I don't think at that point that he plays him. But I could see him saying, "Okay, this is a character that's dear to my heart, so maybe we throw him in there in a flashback scene." I think that would be kind of cool. I think we are going to get flashback scenes, and that's one of the things that kind of worries me about the rumors about Bo Katan because I don't want her to be dead at this point with the Mandalorian, and if the only time we see her is flashbacks, unless if it's a bait and switch where we see Bo Katan facing Moff Gideon in a flashback scene, and it's assumed that she dies in that, but they don't show it, and then at the end of the season they show that she's still alive. That might be kind of cool. We don't know. So what are your thoughts? How do you think he would have gotten it? No, it was Bo Katan would have been the last one to have it. And I think it would have been Moff Gideon wanting to show the power of the Empire over the Mandalorians who would have taken the dark saber. Here's the thing. So in the last one of the last episodes of Clone Wars, Ahsoka and Bo-Katan are having a conversation about how the Mandalorians need a different kind of leader. And so that I don't think there's any way in the past that somebody could take the dark saber from you and that you live through that because I think you would fight to the death to get it back. But I think maybe Bo Katan having a different viewpoint and a different mentality could have possibly realized that she needed to live for another day so that she could get Mandalore back and could have Moff Gideon could have taken it and she could have escaped. So If they were to add Maul to Mandalorian, how would it work? Flashbacks, that's it. And they, it does make sense for him to be in there for flashbacks if they're showing the history of the dark saber. I was gonna say there's makes no sense for him to be in the show, but I'm wrong on that. No, Mandalorian Martin, Darth Vader flashbacks in Mandalorian make no sense whatsoever. However, in the Obi-Wan series, I think for sure, I think Hayden Christensen is going to be in the show. There's rumors that he's going to be. I think that's going to happen. Um, let's see. Who, like, so how cool would it be to see some flashbacks to the Clone Wars in the Obi-Wan series, live action? And they can. I mean, they'd have to have a different actress play Ahsoka at that age. They couldn't have Rosario Dawson do that, but and I wouldn't want her to be in like a lot of the scenes. Maybe even just one scene where it showed the three of them together, but just kind of just to show that obviously she was there. Fan service. I have no problem with fan service as long as it's not it doesn't overwhelm the story. Uh, could Commander Gregor join Rex and Mandalorian? Because what was it? So did Wolf die in Rebels? Do you remember? Well, one of them died, right? I'm trying to remember if one of them died. Uh, but no, I don't. I don't think they're gonna have Tamara Morrison play three characters. So I don't see Commander Gregor joining Rex in the Mandalorian. It's possible though because all they'd have to do is just do a couple little changes. I mean, if they're already going to age Tamara Morrison up a little bit for Rex, it wouldn't take too much to have them do it and do it for Gregor, I guess. But I don't think they will. And I think so. That there's that clone guy or somebody with a patch from Camino in the first season of Mandalorian, and Dr. Pershing and Alexander, I'll answer that here in a second. And I think that he could be somebody that could help Rex and other clones with their de aging, or not de aging, but at least slowing down the aging process. Because they'd all be in that 80-year range as far as their actual, like, uh, how old they would feel, or with their double aging. But shoot, with technology in the Star Wars universe, I'm sure they could live another 20, 30 years at that point. What's Order 77? So just kind of playing around with some words or whatever. 77 is the year that Star Wars came out, so Order 77. I don't know. Something I kind of threw together today. Uh, so it was Commander Gregor that died in Star Wars Rebels? Okay, that answers that. Yeah, yeah, I need to. I still need to do a rewatch of Rebels. I was planning on doing that and then having like discussions afterwards, which I think could be a lot of fun. I liked Rebels. I liked Rebels for the fact that it's one cohesive story all the way through. But I also like just I like Clone Wars too. I mean, Clone Wars I feel like had the better like individual episodes. Like there's a dozen episodes that are just absolutely superior to anything in Rebels other than Twilight of the Apprentice. Um, but overall, I mean, the story arcs in Rebels were, I think, consistency wise, were better than what Clone Wars were. Yeah, Gregor got shot in one of the last episodes of Rebels. Yeah, that makes sense. What should we? So what are some if we get Battlefield 3, what are some things you want to see added? Not necessarily characters, but gameplay wise, or yeah, gameplay wise, I guess. Okay. Now, could you do like mix and match like parts of guns and stuff like that, or? Okay. Yeah. Like I want this. I want something where you can put together actual clans. So you and me and like Jake or Zero and Gerard could be in a clan, and then it's just easier just to okay, we're together and we have a clan record, we have a clan ranking, and we go up against other clans in whatever the mode that we're doing, and that there's actual matchmaking. So we could say, okay, so that clan is so much better than us. We're not even gonna remotely even think about playing them. Um, that type of thing is what I really want. I mean, matchmaking period. Uh, yep. It's otherwise, gosh, HVV is a mode that could live on almost forever if they made it so that the matchmaking wasn't such garbage and it wasn't so toxic. Yep. What's somebody said here? Hold on a second. Crossplay, yeah. I mean, it's. I think that's the thing that's we're gonna see. Oh, I almost tip back in my chair. I think games from here on out, it's gonna be pretty much expected that if a game is available and it's got multiplayer and it's available on different platforms, I think crossplay is just gonna be an automatic, and I think it's gonna be almost unacceptable to release a game and not have crossplay. I think since PlayStation, I just saw myself almost uh, fall back. That was awesome. But I think it'll be. I think that's just the way it is. But PlayStation opened the door. I think I can't remember what game it was, but there was that initial game that PlayStation said, "All right, we're going to allow for crossplay between our system and Xbox and all that." And I think that's just the way it's going to be from here on out. I mean, it's I hope so. But we still, I mean, the best news about Battlefront 3 will be the fact that there's going to be one when it comes out. But yeah, I think. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? I don't want to have this thing go uh, just drag on or whatever. Yeah, kind of think about some things to talk about for next time. I will be doing something this weekend. I know that I work Saturday night, so sometime probably about the same time Saturday morning, I'm going to be doing another show. I'll stick with the Order 77 title for now. That way, at least people know when it's back on and actually get it scheduled. And we're going to be doing a lot more. I think for our channel to grow, these kind of conversation type shows are going to be very important. We'll definitely want to get Zero involved with some of these, and then Gerard and stuff. And I think we can have some really great conversations. But thanks for joining me today, Josh. This has been Order 77. Everybody have a great day, and may the force be with you.